All right. So the legs can either be straight or you can bend them, depending on how best your or how your lower back is feeling today. The hands can just rest onto the lower ribs and the belly, or if you prefer to, keep the arms wide. But for now, actually, I'd like you to keep your eyes open. So just focusing on a gentle point above your head, on the ceiling, maybe the light, without staring at it or looking particularly hard. You're straining your eyes, just allowing the gaze to be soft. Just become really interested now on the colours or the textures or the shapes of the object, or maybe just the simplicity of what you're looking at. We go through our day, or 95% of our day, with our eyes open, seeing things. But actually, there's very little opportunity for us to actually look. So as your gaze is soft and you become really interested, looking in real depth and detail on the object, and then with this heightened awareness of your vision, take a nice long breath in right down to the lower belly. And as you gently and softly exhale, allow the eyelids to close. And as soon as the vision is removed, noticing the other senses that are available. So the sound of my voice, the sound of maybe my garden you can hear, or maybe other sounds in your space. The temperature on the skin or the weight on the back of the hands. And the temperature and the smells coming in through the nose. Any tastes in your mouth. And finally, any moisture behind your eyes. And once again, from this heightened state of awareness, breathing down into the lower half of the abdomen. Feel the breath rise and fall as it comes in and out. Acknowledging that you are here right now. You are present, you are breathing. Allowing our movements this afternoon to really fuel us rather than deplete us more. So gently starting to wiggle through the fingers and inviting some movement back into the toes. Just drifting your head just from side to side, shifting onto the back of the skull. And then if you haven't done already, extend the legs away from you to the bottom corners of the mat. Reach your arms up over your head so that they are towards the back of the mat. Hooking your thumbs, fan your fingers out, point your toes towards the top of the mat. Flatten your lower back as much as you can without making too much of a counter curve in the lower spine. And then from here, you're going to walk your feet to the bottom right-hand corner of your mat as you shuffle your arms to the top right-hand corner of your mat. You can cross that left ankle if you'd like to over your right. Just start to breathe a little bit deeper into the left side of the waist, separating out through the ribs. You can keep the thumbs hooked, or if it feels better, you can hold the left wrist with the right hand. Try not to go so far that your left sit bone leaves the floor. This isn't a massive opening, it's just a gentle invitation for the side body. And then if you've interlaced your fingers, gently release, hook your thumbs once again. Take them back towards the center and then walk your feet back towards the center. Take a moment just back into the midline before shuffling the feet to the bottom left-hand corner. The hands or arms walk to the top left-hand corner. Maybe you take it a little further by crossing the right ankle over the left. maybe hold on to the right wrist with the left hand. Noticing if this side is different. Take a nice long inhale into the right armpit, right collarbone, right rib cage. Maybe parting the lips, exhale it out. And then shuffle the feet back towards the middle, walk the hands back towards the center, bend the knees and bringing them in towards your chest. Rock gently just from side to side, keeping the knees as close as you can. Maybe some circles here, feeling that nice connection with the lower back. And then option to roll over onto your side or rock forwards and backwards. And bringing yourself up into a seat. As you crisscross your ankles, shift yourself over onto all fours. You're going to bring your left hand now directly underneath your face. The right hand comes onto the right shoulder as your elbow lifts up towards the ceiling. Nice big breath in here. Now lead with your elbows. You exhale, drop your elbow down towards the floor. Then breathing in, elbow lifts back up towards the sky. Exhale, dropping the elbow down. Breathing in, last one, elbow lifts up, and then extend the arm all the way away from you towards the ceiling. Thread your needle, lower your right shoulder, right cheek to the mat as you extend your left arm away from you. And then bring that left hand back next to your face. Push yourself back up onto all fours, tucking your toes and coming into a downward facing dog. Straight away, just paddle out through the heels. Smoothing out the breath. And then lift the gaze towards your fingers, beginning to walk or step the feet forwards towards the hands. Nice bend into the knees, forward bend. Wearing an appropriate top today. And then from here, we're going to bend our knees, hook our thumbs, and fan the fingers out wide like a little sun as the arms rise up towards the sky. Look towards the thumbs, push the hips forwards as the arms arc back. And then bow yourself back down, arms come up and over the head, interlace the fingers, palms draw up and over. Straighten the legs if it works, keeping a little bend into the knees if you prefer to, sway from side to side. And then unravel through the fingers, lower them back down towards the floor, stepping back into your plank position. Lower your left knee or left shin down towards the floor. Pick up the toes, swing them 90 degrees towards the side. Right arm rises into our supported side plank. Roll out through the wrist. And then extend the arm up over your head towards the top of the mat. Reverse your movement, slide back hand down, back leg. Opposite arm lifts up towards the ceiling. And then cartwheel the arms, using a little bit of flow back down. Twizzle onto the toes, downward facing dog. We're going to come back up onto our toes, lower your knees and shins both at the same time down towards the floor, underneath your hips. Right hand comes underneath the face as the left arm and left elbow lifts up towards the ceiling as you tap your shoulder. Breathing in, elbow lifts up. Lower the gaze as you exhale, tap the elbow down towards the floor. Breathing in to open up and exhale to drop. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Elbow lifts, this time extend the arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Threading our needle, lower left shoulder, left cheek down towards the mat as you extend right arm away from you. And then bring the right hand back next to the chest. Push yourself back up onto all fours. Tucking your toes, pushing up and back, downward facing dog. Lift the gaze towards the fingers, walking or stepping the feet forwards towards the hands. Hooking the thumbs, big breath in, sun rises to the sky. Push the hips forwards, arc back. And then bow yourself down, interlace your fingers behind the back. Rather than thinking about arms lifting upwards, over the head, rather than thinking about the arms coming up and over, think about lifting them upwards. So you're hugging your shoulder blades together. Little bend into the knees is fine. And then releasing through the interlace, palms come back to the floor, stepping back into your plank pose. Lower the right knee down towards the floor. Pick up the toes, swing them 90 degrees coming into our supported side plank. Push energetically down through the floor. Maybe you lift the gaze to the fingers. Maybe you rotate and roll out through the wrist. And then extend the arm up over your head, nice lateral stretch. And then reverse your movement, slide back hand down, back leg. Find a little bit more flow here. Hands cartwheel back down towards the floor, twizzling onto the toes, downward facing dog. Lift the gaze towards the fingers, walking or stepping the feet to the hands. Hook your thumbs, deep breath in, sun rises to the sky, push the hips forwards, arc back. Re-interlace the fingers as they come back behind you, arms come up and over your head, then straighten the legs. Nice, release the interlace, hands come to the floor, step your right foot back. Option here, the back knee can be up or down as your left elbow lifts to the ceiling. Once again, tapping your shoulder. We're going to do a similar thing, but this time we're just going to rotate out through our elbow. So leading with the elbow, noticing those little crunches or creaks underneath your fingers. And then going the opposite direction. And then next time your elbow rises, lift the gaze, straighten the arm. Lower the hands, lower the gaze, walk yourself to the long end of your mat, wide-legged forward bend. Deep breath in, half lift, teepee the fingertips, lift the gaze. Exhale, bow down and fold. Take a moment here, you can walk the hands forwards, getting a bit more of a stretch through the shoulders as you drop your chest down towards the ground. If your hands are forwards, gently walk in the back, lift the gaze back towards the top of the mat, twizzling onto the tippy toes, take a little spring, right foot joins the outside edge of right hand, lower your bum to the ground. Take a moment here in our yogi squat. Chest lifts up, tail draws down, heart extends up towards the ceiling. Maybe close your eyes here, or finding that focal point in front of you like we did at the beginning of your practice. Finding the curiosity now from the vision. And then hands come back to the floor, re-straighten the legs and fold forwards, heel toe the feet slightly closer together. Hook the thumbs, deep breath in, sun rises to the sky. Push the hips forwards, arc back. Exhale, forward bend, arms come up and over your head, interlace the fingers, shake the head. Keeping that little bend into the knees is fine. Wiggle your nose, shuffle your jaw. Release your interlace, hands come back down to the ground. Step the left foot back. Once again, the back knee can stay up for a little bit more of a challenge, or lower the back knee down. Right hand comes onto the elbow, and lift the elbow up, and then finding those nice big shoulder rolls. So your hand is kind of gliding past your ear. I'm crashing into my glasses as I move. And then the opposite way. And then next time the elbow lifts up, glide the arm up towards the ceiling, look up towards the thumb. And then lower the gaze, hands to the floor, wide-legged forward bends, walking yourself towards the long end of your mat. Once again, the hands can walk forwards if you would like to, or this time walk the hands back in between the legs, crown of the head down in the direction of the floor. Taking the little sways here, once again, allowing your movements to be nurturing for your body. And always an opportunity to find imbalances. And then lift the gaze towards the top of the mat, twizzling onto the toes to face forwards. Once again, take a little spring, left foot joins the outside edge of a left hand, yogi squat once again. You can be still, you can sway, whatever feels good. And once again, finding that point to look at. It will probably be a different point now than the beginning of your practice, seeing as you were looking at the ceiling before. This might be something else in the room now. And then hands come to the floor, really straighten the legs to fold. This time you're going to walk the feet slightly closer together. Bend the knees, and this time we're going to lower our bum down onto our heels. So lift your heels as high as you can, and then TP onto the tippy fingers so that you can find a little bit of balance. Maybe the palms open, maybe the hands come into the center of the chest. And then from here, we're going to take our hands forwards, just for a little bit of a counterbalance for our first one. We're going to lower our heels down towards the ground, then our bum, and then lift our feet. So it looks a bit like this. Lower your heels, simultaneously lower your bum, and then lift your toes. Nice. Now from here, we're going to sit ourselves back up. So I'll show you the first one. We're going to open our legs kind of like into a butterfly pose. We're going to use a little bit of momentum for our first one. Reach forwards until you're in that nice wide-legged position, and then re-straighten the legs. So you can use a little bit of momentum if you'd like to. You can use the hands back behind you if you'd like to. And then bring yourself forwards, resting in our forward bend. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. So lift the heels, come up onto the balls of the feet, lower your bum to your heels. You know where you're going this time, so lower your bum to the floor, heels to the ground, lift your feet up into our balance. Commit to it, use the momentum, knees widen, shift weight forwards, reach towards the front of the room, and then straighten the legs. Lovely, just for funsies, we're going to do this one more time. Lift the heels, lower your bum. Just really slowing this transition down to see if we can use our core slightly more. Lift the toes. Last little bit of momentum. Shift forwards, reach forwards, and straighten the legs. Really good. Shake out through the legs. And heel toe the feet as wide as the mat. So we're going to bend into our right knees. You straighten your left leg. And we're going to walk ourselves to the outside edge of our right foot. Now your right hand can come onto your lower back if you'd like to. And then pushing or straightening out through your left arm as much as you can. You're going to twist yourself around towards the right hand side. So if it's accessible, feel free to straighten that right leg. But just be mindful of the hips wanting to kind of go on a little bit of a wobbly wander. And then lower the hands, lower the fingers, and walk yourself back towards the center, bending the left knee quite considerably just to get yourself happy. Twisting yourself open, left hand comes onto the lower back. And then if it's accessible, feel free to begin to straighten that left leg, but you don't have to bother. Hands come back down towards the floor. Heel toe your feet together. One last one. Lift your heels, lower your bum. This time we're going to roll ourselves all the way down onto our backs. So lower your bum with control, unravel all the way down. Tickle the backs of your heels with your fingertips. Palms then ground down towards the mat. Push down through the feet, big inhale, hips rise towards the ceiling. Now we tend to come straight away into our lower back in these kind of back bends because it's the most flexible part, but it's also the weakest part. So we want to see if we can work a little bit more onto our chest. So maybe shuffle your arms slightly further underneath you. Maybe you can interlace your fingers. And then pushing down through the chest, you're going to feel, through the elbows, you're going to lift your chest up towards the sky. So you're going to get more of a chest opener. And then you're going to curl your tail under so your bum starts to switch on slightly more. And then noticing what's going on in your legs as well. See if you can relax the face. Maybe find that point up on the ceiling once again, or maybe a different point. And become really curious about what you can see. Option to stay here, or you're going to lift your heels up away from the ground. So you just up onto your tippy toes. Roll your pubic bone to your belly button, your sit bones to the back of your knees. And then gently lowering your heels back down towards the floor. Option to stay here, or just take a little step away from you so that your legs begin to straighten. Keeping the hips nice and high. If you feel this through your lower back, I want you to back off. You're going to be feeling this so much more through the backs of the hamstrings now and the glutes. Trust me, I feel it too. I'm gonna take a nice long inhale. And then on an exhale, pull your heels towards your bum, feeling that turbocharge through the backs of the legs. Take a nice long inhale in, and then exhale to lower your back, bum, and hips back down to the ground. Whew. Take a moment there, take a little windscreen wiper, maybe draw the knees in towards your chest, maybe some circles. And then once again, we're going to rock forwards and backwards. So if you'd like to, I'm going to show you what we're going to do first. Rocking forwards and backwards, and then we're going to come back into that butterfly position as the knees open, pushing into the outer edges of your feet to stand yourself once again back up. To be honest, this is probably going to be easier because we've got a lot more momentum of this rock and roll forwards and backwards. So starting off just by taking the hands behind the backs of the knees, and then as you rock, open your knees, reach forwards, and then straighten your legs. If it doesn't work the first time, once again, you've got a couple more rocks, that's absolutely fine. From here, we're going to step our right foot long down the mat. Lower the back knee down towards the ground. Or sorry, option to lower the back knee down towards the ground. It can stay up if you would like to. And then our left hand is going to grow tall towards the ceiling. Now try not to dump down now into that right wrist. Lower the gaze as you thread this left arm towards the back of your right thigh, or towards your knee. Now breathing in, arcing yourself back open. You can cactus that arm if it feels good. And then like the hand of a clock, scoop yourself back in, reach towards the back knee. As you do this, charge your back heel away, breathing in, open. Last one, reaching through and pause there. Try not to lose that bend in the front knee. Reach, reach, reach just a little bit further as your back heel reaches towards the back of the room. Keep the left knee hugging in towards the midline. Big breath in. Walk the hands to the line of your mat, breathe out. From here, we're going to come into a triangle pose at the back of our mat. So turn your right foot to face backwards. Walk yourself over until the right hand can rest onto your right shin. So both legs are straight. And then push down through the shin as you grow your left arm tall towards the ceiling. You can look up towards the sky, or you can find that lateral stretch once again by bringing your arm up and over your head. Bringing your right hip back, tail draws under. And then lower the gaze, bend into that back knee. Sweep yourself over, side, all the way back towards the front. Left arm grows tall to the ceiling. Hands lower to the floor. Take a little spring, right foot joins outside edge of right hand. Lower your bum to the floor. Familiar territory. Hands come back down, re-straighten the legs, walk the feet slightly closer together. Hook the thumbs, big inhale, sun rises to the sky. Push hips forwards, arc back. Forward bend, arms come up and over the head. Interlace and release. Noticing how the shoulders are feeling now, having done this quite a few times. And then releasing your interlace, hands come back down to the mat, step the left foot back. Once again, the back knee can stay high, or you can lower it down if it's a little bit too challenging. And a twist as the right arm lifts to the ceiling. Lower the gaze, scoop that right arm towards the back knee, drop the right shoulder down onto the inside edge of that leg, and then breathe in, arcing back open, lift. Try not to sacrifice the bend into the front knee. Exhale, reach down, tap the thigh, inhale to open. Make this movement as big as possible. Last one, reaching through. And then last inhale, arms open towards the sky. As you take it through, we're going to pause here. So reach as far as you can. Keep that right knee hugging in towards the midline. Relax the head, challenge your balance slightly more by looking towards the back toes. Keep the left thigh lifted. You can give your thigh a little tap just to make sure it's active. Take a nice long inhale. Hands to the mat, wide-legged forward bend, exhale. And then we're going to come into our triangle once again, so this time the left foot faces towards the back of the mat. Walk yourself over towards the back corner. Hand comes onto your shin, both legs become straight as your all limbs become straight, right arm grows tall to the sky. Look up towards your fingers if you would like to. Reach your arm up over your head if you would like to. Draw the inner thighs together. Draw that left hip back. Lovely, lower the gaze, soft bend into the back knee, hands come to the floor. Sweep yourself towards the ground, all the way over towards the front of the mat as you twist, arm rises to the sky. Both hands to the floor, take a little spring, both feet to the top of your mat. Yogi squat for our last time. Nice big breath in. And a releasing breath out. And then with control, we're going to lower our bum down towards the floor. You can reach forwards if you'd like to, just for a little bit more balance. Lower your bum. And then we're going to crisscross our ankles. And from here, we're going to come into some little bit more hip movement, hip mobility work. So bringing your left shin, let's start with our left shin forwards, kind of the top of the mat, and then you're going to swing this right leg back behind you. So kind of your knee and your sole of your foot is in one line, depending on obviously how it is. And then we're going to use a little bit of momentum here just to rock ourselves forwards, and we're going to push our hips forwards towards the front of the mat. Lower your bum back down towards the floor using the control of the hands. And then I'm going to twizzle this way so I don't completely abandon the shot. And then we're going to pick up our knees and swing over towards the opposite side. I think we've done this a couple of times before in practice, so noticing how it starts to feel as you push the hips forwards, lower your bum, just easing in for our first few. Push, 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 glutes really active. I'm just starting to walk myself forwards. And then once again, there's a little bit more of a challenge here. We're going to not use our hands quite so much. So maybe bring the hands into the center of the chest and use more. Notice how you kind of turn into a little tortoise here. I want you to see if you can keep high through the chest. As soon as you do that, your core is doing so much more work. Push forwards. Slow the process down. Really good hip mobility movements, this. Notice the coordination as well. Last one, you're going to do it with your eyes closed. And then slowly sitting yourself back down. You're going to open up both knees. Soles of the feet coming open. Coming into our butterfly pose. So our first one, we're going to take our feet slightly closer towards us. So you're going to take hold of your ankles and kind of shuffle them as close towards your bum as you can. You can hold the outer edges of the ankles or interlace the fingers around the soles of the feet. Draw the shoulder blades back so you open your chest. Now we might not move very much from here, so I want you to keep the spine long as you begin to hinge forwards. So once again, it might just be an inch. As soon as you go like this and try to get your head low, then I want you to back off, re-stabilize or re-lengthen through the spine, keeping those feet and almost a little bit of a pull for your feet so you can keep the chest open. And then slowly release. You're going to help the knees back together, slide the legs away from you. Depending on the level of flexibility for the hamstrings, you can always pop a rolled up cushion just underneath your knees, just for a little bit more support. Or just stay here as the arms lift up. Draw the toes back towards you. Now remember that straight spine once again. As you exhale, release your hands down either side of your knees or your shins. So focusing less on trying to get your chest low, focus more on trying to get your chest long. And can you see the difference there? The tilt is coming from the pelvis rather than just reaching as low as we can with our chest. And as soon as you do everything with a straight spine, it will feel so much more responsive for the hamstrings. Nice big breaths. And And as you walk yourself back up, we're going to bend into our right knee, so place the sole of the foot to the floor. Option A is just to keep the foot onto the inside edge, or it can hop up and over. From here, we're going to take our first 2 peace fingers and just pop them onto our temples. So feel your bum to the ground. Press the bridge, the bridge of your right foot down towards the floor, so the ball of your foot, noticing how the knee hugs back in towards the midline as you do that. Pull your left toes back towards you, now breathing in to feel your whole body lift. And then as you exhale, lead with your elbows as you twist towards the right hand side. Now noticing how we haven't got any kind of wrenching here to allow us to help ourselves. So notice what's going on through the sole of this foot, through this knee, through the twisting of the upper body. And then imagine that you want to look towards the back of the room with your left eye. Don't strain through your eyes if you don't need to, but just visualizing that eye going over. Take a nice long breath in. And then exhale, just drape your arms down towards the floor. Try not to kind of wrench once again. So we're doing all of the work coming from this midline, the knee hugging in. And then beginning to unravel, bring yourself back towards the center, little derotation just towards the opposite side. And then we're going to come into our tree pose, seated tree pose from here, so it might be a little bit easier to forward bend, but we're also getting a nice little stretch through the hip. If half lotus is accessible, feel free to pick up your foot and then roll the top of the foot over the top of your thigh. That just gives a little bit more stretch for the hip. There can be a little space here, but if it's kind of super high, then just release it and come back to your normal tree pose. Fingers come forwards. Same thing, think about the spine, breathing in, breathing out to fold. And noticing as soon as we fold and we pause, we don't stop. Things continue to move. And then gently beginning to walk yourself back up. Help the right knee in, slide it away. Same thing on the opposite side, so the left knee bends. Once again, the foot can stay onto the inside with about a fist in between the foot and the thigh. Or hop it up and over. Check your bum, check your spine, check your sole of your foot, and check your right toes. Peace fingers come onto your temples, lift up. So notice as soon as we do this, how we're using our core. Can you feel your core so much more to feel yourself lift, rather than just reaching with your arms? Take a nice big breath in. And then exhale, wring yourself out from that midline, right waist comes around towards the left inner thigh. Take a nice long inhale in. Exhale, release your arms. Just pop them down wherever they land. And then a gentle derotation over towards the opposite side. Just drop the head. Bring yourself back towards the center. Once again, we're going to lie ourselves down onto our backs. We're going to do a little Pilates roll down. So a little bit more of a challenge. If you have got anything accessible like a book or a block, feel free just to pop it in between your inner thighs as an extra little counter. Or simple, we're just going to roll ourselves down. So thinking about the lower back trying to hit the ground first, this time we're really focusing on this rounding. As you push the lower back down towards the floor, once it lands, the process isn't over. Whoo, facial expression's optional here. Once the lower back hits, keeping yourself as high as you can for as long as you can. Lower the mid back, the shoulder blades, and then relax your skull. Bending into the knees, taking a windscreen wiper. And then finding some stillness, extend your legs up towards the ceiling. You can take the feet a little bit wider, a little point and a flex here. Now, option to stay here, or if you'd like to come into a shoulder stand, you can take the hands to the floor. Use a little bit of momentum to bring the feet up over your head to begin with. Take the hands onto the lower back and then shuffle your elbows in between, or get your elbows a little bit closer together. If your feet don't touch the floor, then I'd like you to keep your hands on your lower back. And then one leg at a time, you can begin to lift your legs up towards the ceiling. Focusing on charging the toes up, squeeze the inner thighs together. And see if you can bring your toes in line with your hips. And then once again, focusing on that point on the ceiling. Also focusing on the toes, pointing towards that spot. And then bring ourselves out the same way we came in, so the feet come up and over the head. Keep the hands onto the lower back. And then with control, with as much abdominal activation as you can, lower your upper back, middle back and lower back. Back down. Keep the lower back flattened as you slowly, straight and strong, lower the legs to the floor. Take the feet a little bit wider. Just rearrange here by pushing slightly into the shoulders to lift your head, head into the shoulders. Take your feet to the bottom corners of the mat. Open your arms out wide. If you'd like to make any last and final movements before we finally rest, feel free to do so. The lower back is feeling a little bit tender, or the core activation, you struggle there with the lower back, then feel free to bend the knees and pop the knees together so you feel the lower back a little bit more connected to the ground. We're going to close our eyes and allowing ourselves to find stillness. As we find our last and final pose. Noticing those senses that we scanned through at the beginning of our practice. What is here, what is readily available. From here, taking 3 long, deep breaths, breathing in and out. Inhale and exhale. Last one, breathe in and let it all go. Wiggle fingers, wiggle toes, slowly bring yourself back to the room, bring yourself back up. Bring your hands together at the center of the chest to complete our practice. Namaste. Thanks, guys.